Same goes for any kind of talent, painting, design, illustration, whatever. If you're afraid to do it, then do it.
Welcome to the Passion Behind the Art Show. It's all about diving in with individuals to learn the story behind their passion. It's your host, Daryl Pinnock. I have some big news. Episode 50 is coming. It's going to be an 8 to 9 hour live stream. Yes, it's going to be crazy. Tons of awesome guests. A bunch of giveaways. It's just going to be a big celebration to celebrate this great milestone, 50 episodes into this podcast. So go to dpcreates.com to learn more. You don't want to miss it. dpcreates.com. Episode 50 coming to you live. Now, this week's episode. All right, I'm pretty excited to have Lenny Terenzi on the Passion Behind the Art Show.
See, there you asked about the last thing. You get the first one right.
Oh, man.
Got it real.
Yeah, Lenny Terenzi on the Passion Behind the Art Show from Hey Monkey Design. Lenny, welcome.
How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man.
Oh, it's always good to talk to you, man. Well, let's kick it off. I know you've probably told the story a million times, but how did you get to where you are? How did your journey in design start?
Oh, by closing my eyes and running into so many brick walls. Seriously, man, there was no master plan. There was no, when I'm 44 years old, I'm going to own a screen printing shop and decide to start illustrating. My whole career, I've always known I was going to do something creative, as a kid, teenager, all that. I didn't know exactly what that was going to be, and it kind of fell into graphic design. I was finishing up high school, late 80s, early 90s, so, computers were starting to hit the scene. They were starting to be affordable for everyone, somewhat affordable at least.
Right.
And, desktop publishing, Quark Express. I used Photoshop version 2. That's where I started. I've seen it come a long way. There was no Adobe Illustrator. It didn't exist.
Right.
I've been, there's people been around longer, but I've been there for a while. And, I don't know. It's just, I never gave up, I guess. I just kept doing it and kept kind of just going with the punches and honestly letting things just happen to me. And then I think finally about, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, well, not even longer than that, maybe about 7, 8 years ago, I decided to start steering the ship a little bit more.
When you say steering the ship, what do you mean?
Like I said, I kind of just let my career happen to me. I just let it, Lenny, do this for us. All right, cool. Just would kind of do stuff and didn't really have a lot of, I would say, drive or gumption. I was working at a good company, making good money. My then wife was at the same company. We weren't hurting for too much. There was nothing to really make me hungry. And I can't even say I liked my job, but I can't say I loved it. It was fun. I was like, all right, well, this is cool. I mean, this is how I make money, right? Everybody else makes money some way. This is how I do it. And then, my late 30s, went through a divorce. Went through some of those big life changes and just kind of sat back and said, all right, man, it's all me now. I don't have anybody else aside from, it's me and my daughter. And I'm kind of looking around saying, man, how are all these people loving their jobs? How are all these design buddies of mine just like, just loving it? You could just tell, right? The way they talk about it. I was like, man, I don't talk about design like that. I didn't care. It was just like, but I kind of wanted to care because I didn't want to start over. I was like, well, what the hell else am I going to do? I said, but I want to kind of learn to love it. So I almost wonder if just that sort of realization and all of a sudden it kind of clicked and maybe that desperation of like, oh crap, it's me 100%. There's nobody else to fall back on, at that point. And I think from then on, man, I just started looking at it differently and just going for it.
So at this time, were you still working for someone when you started to make that like change?
No, my last corporate job was April 2001.
Wow.
Was the last day I walked into a corporate job. And I've been on my own since then, but just really going through the motions. I did okay work. I did good work for clients, but honestly, I was unhappy in my marriage, which, bled into the personal life. And so there's no doubt I did the bare minimum for most people, which, luckily I was pretty good at it. So my bare minimum was still better than other people's good, but I wasn't passionate about it. I just did the job to get the check and move on to the next one.
Gotcha. So when did Hey Monkey, or was this always Hey Monkey design start?
So it wasn't always Hey Monkey. It's always been me, and it's still just me. But I really started hanging the Hey Monkey hat probably, 2008, maybe 2009. Just decided that I wanted to have something to start branding, like to have something that I could kind of just have fun with a little bit.
Gotcha.
And create a brand around. I just wasn't into using my name as like my, to hang my shingle on. Lenny Terenzi, there's only so many ways you can lock up an L and a T, and I felt like it had all been done already. I just wanted something fun with it, but I wanted it to be something, something personal. And, the story of Hey Monkey is those are the first two words that I ever said to my daughter when she was born. She was born, I held her in my arms, I looked down at her, and I said, "Hey, Monkey." And that's her nick. That's literally, man, you look at my phone, my text to her is Monkey, hey, Monkey, every morning, every afternoon. That's what I call her. So that's kind of where that was born out of. So, I say Hey Monkey Design established 2001 because that's when I went out on my own.
Right.
But I hadn't been using the name for the full time.
Gotcha. So I noticed through Slack and through other channels, just kind of seeing you talk about things, I noticed you're on this deal about how to actually network and how to actually, the idea of networking.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
So I call the word a necessary evil, not the act of it. Right. I can't stand the word networking. To me, it's this connotation of showing up to a place with a stack of business cards, and I'm trying to get money from you, and you trying to get money from me, right? That's what we're doing. Is we're walking in that room. One of my favorite quotes ever, is by Jessica Hish, and she said, "Don't network, make friends."
Right.
It's one of my favorite quotes ever. And when I heard that, it was like, that's what I've been trying to say. I didn't really know how I always wanted to put it, but that's what I wanted to say. So I really like when I go to networking events, rarely will I take a business card. I want to go there and make a connection. And if, in 10, 15 minutes, you're going to know if you're going to want to go out to coffee with someone or lunch or dinner. I'm not even thinking about a job at that point. This is just like, man, this cat's cool, or this lady's cool. I'd like to get to know them better. Let's go have some coffee and stuff like that. Getting work from someone isn't ever the reason I use to meet someone anymore. If it's in that, sort of blind dates kind of phase. Obviously, if it's a client meeting where somebody calls me, of course we're meeting to discuss, work. But I'm just real big into not networking, and I really try to push that upon students. As well, because I think had I known that and established some relationships 20x years ago when I started, I can only imagine how much further along I would be. And I don't say that with regrets. That's life, right? You look back and there's mistakes.
That's true.
Right?
Okay. So I notice you're probably not doing a lot of client work as quote-unquote client work, if I'm not mistaken. I know you do a lot of things with print shops. With your print shop, and talk a little bit about, like, if someone is trying to get out of just doing a whole bunch of client work and just want to figure out a way for a revenue stream outside of just client work.
Sure. So I still do client work now, but now it's different client work because I have a print shop, right? So I'm still, clients are still hitting me up. I'm still cranking out shirts for them or hoodies or whatever they need me to print, posters. But it's kind of nice because those jobs last like 7 days, right? From beginning to end. You talk about it, get the money, order the paper of the shirts, get the art, print it, send it out, boom, you're on to the next one. I kind of like that. I was really starting to get burnt out on the 3-month-long branding project, the 6-month-long website design project. And I wanted to just kind of in and out. Let's just get let's not sacrifice the quality, but how can we increase the quantity? And with print jobs, it's easy to do. I can stack them up and do them. And I just sort of quit pursuing larger projects because I just like the faster pace of the print projects I was doing. Now, lately in this year, I'm trying to swing the pendulum back towards the middle a little bit. And I'm trying to go into back doing some design and illustration work and balancing that with print work. I think I just needed a break from it.
Gotcha.
But I would say, if people want to really break that client work cycle, you just really got to start figuring out, what's that thing that you can offer that perhaps is better than what's already out there. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You don't have to invent a new product. Look at Dustin Lee, right? Reference Supply Company.
Right.
He didn't create anything. This is straight from his mouth. This is one of my best friends, so I'm certainly not casting a negative on him. He didn't create anything new. He looked at what was out there and said, man, I can do this better. Or I can do my version of it. I can do what I would want to see out of it, right? And so he just took some existing things and took a need. He really hit right at the front of that, retro, vintage, aging, all that kind of stuff. And he saw what was out there. And he says, man, I can make this stuff a little bit better, a little bit more accessible. And went out and did that. And that's one of the big lessons that I take from him is, don't reinvent the wheel. Just make your version of the wheel. So go with something that's easy, that you're already good at, and that you're passionate about, and you can start seeing the rewards from that a lot faster.
Gotcha. So in this journey, what would you say was the hardest part of it? What was the biggest struggle you had to overcome?
For me, it's still the struggle of actually running the business. Right? I'm awesome with people. Man, I will. Put me in a room of 100 people, I'll have 100 new friends in 5 minutes. Like that's just, I love people. I love doing it, right? I love meeting people. But running the business and remembering tax time, remembering to file the report, remembering to all that crap. I hate it, but you got to do it. And it's burned me bad. And I am going to be spending probably the next decade digging out of some bad decisions from my past. But just, man, try to move forward and, hire some people around who maybe are better at me, better than me at that, and try to do it. But for me, it's been overcoming actually running the business. Being the business is easy. Running the business is hard for me. Yeah.
Makes sense. Especially for us creatives, like the other side of the paperwork side can be.
Yeah, a lot of us don't like that. That's half the reason we became creatives. Hell with math class, I'm gonna draw a picture. Right?
It's the truth. So who would you say were some of, I know you mentioned Dustin, but who would you say some of the people that you kind of surround yourself as for a support system?
Oh man, I have so many, but definitely Dustin has been a huge mentor and friend. Mike Jones, right? Bucket, Mr. Creative South. We went from not knowing each other in 2013 to him being the best man at my wedding in 2015. So that lets you know how I like to roll with, surrounding myself with people. I've just met so many people, the people in my own community, my AIGA Raleigh community, Raleigh-Durham community, just so incredibly supportive and honest. I think that's the big thing is, sometimes people confuse honesty and support. Sometimes you got to be brutally honest to support people the best. You don't always have to tell me I did a good job or that it looks good. I need people around me who says you can do better. Right. And I've seen you do better, and so let's do better before you put that out again next time. And it's like, oh man, you're right. I need you to call me on that. So yeah, those kind of people, Mike, Dustin, community, our Slack community, just so many of those people. I just put trust in them that everything they say, even if it feels like it's a little sharp, is coming from a place of love.
So my question, you mentioned AIGA. How did that come about?
Yeah, AIGA has been around. It's over 100-year-old organization. Not a lot of people know that. It was formed in like 1903 or 4. Right. Old organization. It's got 70 chapters all across the country, 30,000 members, give or take. And I'm part of the Raleigh chapter. And for me, it was born out of, the divorce and separation. I needed a support group. I needed to start, if I was going to love my job, I needed to insert myself in these professional areas where other people were doing what I had been doing and what I wanted to do better. So I just kind of tossed myself into the room and took stock of it. And these were people that were they were me. They were community. They were just good, kind people. And again, they just had faith in me and supported me when I kind of came in vulnerable, and I just felt like I needed to pay that back and just became part of it.
So are you the vice president or the president?
I am currently the vice president of AIGA Raleigh right now. We have 6 more months to go on our current term. We have 2-year terms.
Okay.
This will be my second elected term, so I've already served 1 2-year term before that, and then before that, I was just a member and volunteer.
Okay. So how does that even come about? Like it's just like some kind of election. I'm just curious.
So the way we do it, we have a very, what we call open source model.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of do the cream rises to the top, model of, we hold, all of our meetings are open. We don't have any closed meetings. All our information is open. Anybody can walk up to us and say, man, how much money y'all got in your bank account? We'll tell them. Got about $22,000 in checking, $10,000 in savings, because it's really community money, right? We're a nonprofit group that's here to raise awareness and support the design in our area. You have every right to know what kind of ammo we're coming at, because if we tell you that, you might say, I got an idea for an event, but it might take a little bit of money. And we can say, well, we can help you do that, So it's just really being open, transparent, and honest, and then looking at the people who respond to that and who just jump in without any thought of gaining anything from it, right? It's just like, man, this is just cool. I want to help. And I think I came at the right place at the right time. I was newly divorced, and so sitting at home alone with your thoughts sucks, right? Anybody who's gone through a relationship breakup knows that's the worst thing to do, is sit at home alone with your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, every time, volunteer, I'll do it. And they were like, man, this Lenny cat's like on the ball. And then they said, man, would you like to help us out with this role? And I said, yeah. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And that's kind of how we do it. It's just, let's see who's out there who rises to the top and really puts their foot forward and wants to work. But on the same note, trying to see who's out there that wants to do it but might be shy, right? Might be a little bit of an introvert, but you see something.
Right.
It's like, you know what, man? This person never volunteers, but they are at every meeting.
Gotcha.
They are at every event. I bet you they just don't know how to walk up and say, I want to help. But if I walk up to them and say, hey, man, you interested in helping? They're probably going to be all in,
It's funny because it kind of takes kind of an eye to kind of pick those people out, because a lot of times they kind of fall behind.
They definitely do. And I was one of those people. So I actually think that is, like, I'm really good at that. I'm really good at sort of grabbing hold of people and telling them that they're ready for something that they don't think they're ready for. And I don't very easily take no for an answer in those regards. And I say that, and it is, sometimes it's funny. It's like, why don't you come and help, man? I don't know if I'm going to be good at that. Yeah, I don't care. You're going to come help. Come on. But I do that because I sort of look at my career, my life as there was some wasted time. And again, I don't have regrets because it's placed me where I am right now.
Gotcha.
But if I can maybe help somebody not have as much wasted time, let's do it.
Okay. Makes sense. So how did you get involved with Creative South? How did that switch happen?
Yeah, so, here we go. We're going to slide back to that 2011, 2012 divorce again, when I was just reevaluating my life and, how do I get passionate about design in my career? And I was like, well, I've never been to a design conference before in my life, so let's look around. I also had a fear of flying, crippling fear of flying for most of my life. Wow. So I went to Google in 2012. This was probably fall 2012, and typed into Google, Southeast Design Conference Drivable. And Creative South popped up for 2013, right? It was going to be April 2013. I was looking in the fall 2012, and it popped up, and I was like, Columbus, Georgia. Whoop, go over to Google Maps or Yahoo Maps, whatever it might have been, 6 years ago. And looked it up. I was like, 7-hour drive, done. I can do that. And then, I looked at the lineup, and that year it was Draplin. It was Raji, the Hood Sisters, Mama Sauce, James White from Signal Noise. Just like, right? Just crazy. Right. It was $75. That was the cost. Creative South's a little bit smaller back then.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember looking at that going, 75. I was like, are you kidding me? I bought that ticket right then and there and was going to do, I was like, I'm going. This is what I'm going to do.
All right.
And I was just really impressed at that lineup. Every time I would think about it, I was like, how am I going to get to see all these people for just $75? You know, obviously you got hotel travel costs, but regardless, $75, right?
Yeah.
This is when How Conference is $1,000.
Exactly.
And so I just started tweeting about it, saying, hey, I don't know if anybody's heard about this, but I'm going down to it. This is this conference called Creative South. It's like $75. You know, here's the lineup. And Mike was like, we didn't know each other. And Mike was like, hey, man, hey, brother. You know, Mike, hey, brother.
It's like
He's like, I really appreciate you, you know, talking nice about my conference. Definitely make sure you introduce yourself when you get down here. And I was like, dude, I'll be sure to do that. And over the next few months, I just kept tweeting. And every time, man, I appreciate you pushing my conference. I appreciate you saying nice things. And I got down there with a friend of mine who subsequently came to every Creative South with me since. The only reason she's missing it this year is she's going to be having a little baby soon. And we went down there, and sure enough, the opening party, I went, you know, I found Mike. I said, Mike, I'm Lenny. I'm the guy on Twitter, man. And you know, Mike, big old neck hug, right? Big old hugging necks. And that was about it, really, for that Creative South. The man was busy, right? He's running a conference. I didn't know him. And I'm kind of just surveying the scene, right? This is new to me, conferences.
Right.
So I was definitely a little more introverted than I am, by far, than I am now at Creative South or anything. And I said goodbye to him, you know, at the end of the conference, said goodbye. He said, man, let me know when you get home safe. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. What are you, my grandmother? Right? You know, it's like, I did. And it just blew me away. I came home absolutely in love with my profession and the people, because I met Draplin and James White and Mama Sauce and Raji and all these people, and Ryan Hamrick was there.
Wow.
Right? All these people who online I put on these pedestals.
Exactly.
Did not want to be put on pedestals, because I'm there putting Ryan Hamrick on a pedestal, or, you know, whatever. He's there putting Draplin on a pedestal or something, right? So we're all doing it to somebody, but none of those people, they're just like, man, I'm just happy to be here and hang. Yeah, I don't even understand why you are paying me to come down here and talk. Like, it still blows our minds, you know, now that I'm on the speaking circuit myself, that people actually want us to be there and talk.
Right.
So it just really humanized our industry for me. And I've been addicted to Creative South ever since. To me, it is absolutely the greatest design conference out there. There's other fantastic ones, but to me, it's probably because it was my first love. There's nothing better than Creative South.
Wow. So I understand that now. Are you like on staff or what?
I am. As of last year, you know, Mike has always had a great team helping him out. And Creative South's been getting bigger and bigger, and Mike, with all that love in his heart, just always wants to present the biggest, best family reunion that he can every year.
Exactly.
Right? And there was one year, man, it was killing him, like running him ragged.
Yeah.
We're talking some trips to emergency room running ragged.
Right.
And I called him up. I said, you know what, my man? I'm not letting that happen anymore. Next year, I'm on staff. I'm helping. Let me figure out how I can take some of that heat off of you. And so last year, I jumped on staff with him to help out and did what I could with sponsorships. And this year I've taken an even more active role. Myself and Peter Del Tondo, you know, he's also in our group. We went to Mike this year and said, we are actually doing this and taking it from you. Like, you know, before he would still have a hand in it and we would check with him, and we're like, you know, you're still too busy for that. We're taking this from you because we know you trust us.
Right.
And so we just removed some of that stuff from him to help lighten his load. Right. And to say, we got this for you. You know, we're going to take care of this for you.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I know you had a little bit of a switch in career. I don't know when it happened, but I know you were in the music field.
Yeah.
And I found that out through Mike, of course.
Yep.
You know, we were talking about it on the Slack group.
That's right. You and I are going to jam at Creative South.
Yeah, as long as it's still on, I'm on, man.
We're doing it, brother. I'll be flying down, but I got a bunch of friends driving, so I'm going to toss a guitar in somebody's car, and it'll be down there when I get there.
So let's talk a little bit about your musical journey.
So, you know, I definitely have learned in hindsight that my musical journey was born out of the fact that I wasn't happy with my design and art journey at the time. So I was definitely using that as sort of a way to creatively fulfill me. And it was definitely just a side thing for fun. But all of a sudden that band got really damn good. Like, we got really good. And we started just clubs packing them around Raleigh. We would do competitions, and when we walk in the door, all the other bands would go, "Oh shit!" They didn't. We walked in the door, that we were just like mentally defeating them right away. And we were able to take it national. We went to International Blues Challenge in Memphis, which is actually going on this weekend in Memphis, where bands from all over the world come and perform against each other, and it's almost like like a tournament. Bracket it down to the tops, and they compete. And we took third place in that one year, and the record that we made won Best Self-Produced Album of the Year.
Wow!
And all of a sudden, we were on the road, touring and all that, and I. Again, in hindsight, I don't think I ever wanted to do it, but it was kind of a ride, and I just kind of got swept into it. Wasn't making money. It was horrible. Missing my, kid, something terrible. And just kind of did that for a while. And finally, around 2008, I said, I'm going to quit. I'm done. I'm just kind of done, and I want to hang at home and relax and just not be on the road anymore. So I did. I quit. And just played with local bands from like 2008 till 2000, maybe 13 or 14, just around, town. And then that's really when I started the full studio. Mm-hmm. And I've just been so busy that music's definitely, backburnered a little bit for me.
Okay. So what kind of music is like your forte?
I'm definitely blues, soul, classic R&B, Otis Redding, Sam and Dave, 50s, 60s, early 70s soul. As far as blues music, 1930s, 40s, and 50s, B.B. King, Albert Collins, T-Bone Walker, all those cats. And like I said, soul and R&B, just love, Stax, Motown, all that stuff.
Man, I'm getting excited now.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when you're not doing all these creative stuff, helping out with creative stuff, like what does Lenny do outside of just all of that?
I do all of that. Well, it's all year round, man.
Right, right.
Not even kidding, man. Creative South's going to be in April, right? I promise you, in May, me, Mike, and Peter are sitting down to start planning 19. But it doesn't really fire up probably till like the fall of that year.
Right.
Obviously, I spend as much time as I can with my daughter, who's 18, going to graduate high school soon. My wife and I are gamers, so we will sit back and play video games, watch movies, just relax.
That is epic.
AIGA is a year-round thing, helping my community and being there for my community. So, that definitely is probably what takes most of what I would call my free time. But I love it so much that I don't even view it as like another thing. Right. And then I'm, definitely this year I'm going to, we're going to be doing it a little bit together. I'm going to crack open that guitar case a little bit more and get back to playing a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't even know that you were, when I started doing my research and everything, I didn't even know that you were in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're going to have to make something happen. If it's after Creative South or just something.
Yeah, man, we'll do it.
So what's next? What's next this year? Any big plans after Creative South? Anything that you want to get done, accomplish?
Yeah, absolutely. For many years, I've been doing these lunchbox drawings for my daughter. These kind of weird, gross, crazy, funny little monsters and creatures. And for years and years, everybody's been screaming at me to do something with them. And I'm not making like a formal announcement yet, but I'm just going to say that I'm going to be launching something soon for a little bit of email sign up real soon. And I'm launching a full-on new kind of side project, passion project at Creative South this year.
Wow.
That's going to have to do with illustration work. I've been doing... if you've been following me at all on Instagram, or if any of the listeners have, they'll have noticed I've been pumping out a lot more artwork on Instagram than I did last year, and that's kind of been my side thing. That's been one of my side things. When you ask what I'm doing when I'm not doing all that, is I've been doing that, right. And just really diving into my artwork, illustration, children's book illustration style, and just trying to up my game a little bit there.
Awesome. So, what advice would you have for creatives?
Listen more than you talk at first, right? Because then if you do that, you can sometimes talk a little more than you listen and know what you're talking about. Right. But general rule, listen more than you talk. Be confident in your work. So that way, but not so confident that you can't take criticism. It's all right to be confident. I don't care who you are. take criticism, take, a day, listen to it, and try it regardless, right? And see if it makes it any better. That's my big thing. You still get see people they're getting hurt when somebody says try this, or this doesn't look as good, or man, that just ain't cutting it. I do that all the time on Slack. Somebody will post it, and I'll be like, I think you need to start over, man. It's sorry, right? I ain't trying to be mean. I'm trying to be nice,
right?
Right. I want you to have something at the end of this that's as good as possible,
right?
I think I'm telling creatives, don't be afraid to be a little bold with your clients. I push my clients pretty hard. I kind of have a motto that I don't work for my clients, I work with them.
Right.
And if a client wants me to work for them, then I'm not going to be their designer. I'm looking for partnerships. I'm looking for friends. And that kind of goes back to my networking as well. I think one more thing is if you don't think you're good at it, then you just need to start, because you're never going to get good at it if you don't do it. And if you're afraid of it, that's the thing you're going to have to beat to grow. Like, that's a guarantee, right? So I already know that I suck at the business end of it. I got to figure out how to get a handle on that, or I'm not going to grow much anymore.
Right.
In my business. Same goes for any kind of talent, painting, design, illustration, whatever. If you're afraid to do it, then do it.
Well, Lenny, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Dude, I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. I was just hoping on just trying to clear up some of these scheduled ones. And
I hear you, man. Now we got to start picking our songs.
Dude, just let me know, man, and we're gonna make this happen. Well, man, I'm gonna let you go, but thanks again for coming on the show, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Yes, sir. Definitely. We'll we're gonna be tearing it up down.
I can't wait. All right, man.
All right, now you have a good night, brother. Take care now.
I want to say thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at DPCREATES on Instagram or Twitter. And please leave me a review on iTunes, because that helps the podcast to grow. Thanks again. Be blessed.